All right, Trump. He's currently on a little Middle East adventure, visiting, I believe, Saudi Arabia and two Gulf states, Qatar and the UAE, I believe, right? Well, we all know recently the Qataris were just like, "Here, Trump, we're gonna give you a gift of a replacement Air Force One." Now, if you are quite literally anyone with half a brain, okay, if you have like half of a brain cell, should be fairly obvious the not only the conflict of interest that's like going on here, the obvious conflict of interest, but also like all of the ridiculous safety measures that exist in like Air Force One. Like Air Force One, quite literally, is a flying command center. It is a bunker, a flying bunker. It has like some of the like craziest, most ridiculous protections that an airplane can possibly have, and it's being replaced with some like random fucking Gulf state like luxury 747 that like is going to for free to the military, and is Trump is trying to use it as his new Air Force One for some reason. Like if you think about it for like literally 3 seconds, it's so obviously transparent what is going on here that the point of it is just a bribe. Let's be quite honest here. And I'm thinking like we just have like one of the most just transparent presidents like probably in history. But what do we have here? He's gonna lift Syrian sanctions and secure a $600 billion Saudi deal. What do we have here? The video.
In a major U.S. policy shift, President Donald Trump said on Tuesday he would order the lifting of sanctions on Syria at the behest of Saudi Arabia's crown prince.
They've had their share of travesty, war, killing.
Well, that's interesting. At the behest of the Saudi Arabian crown prince. I wonder why that's happening.
Many years. That's why my administration has already taken the first steps toward restoring normal relations between.
Okay, I have to comment real quick. Dude, the fucking quality on this microphone is just complete fucking dog shit. Jesus Christ, this sounds so bad, dude. What the fuck is this, man?
Between the United States and Syria for the first time in more than a decade.
Trump made
Dude, it's crazy like how Al-Jilani, I think he's also changed his name pretty recently. How he's like we like not that long ago he was with what President Macron of France. He was in France like not that long ago. He's also like been talking with like a bunch of other like a bunch of his like local neighbors and stuff. Keep in mind, this guy used to be a part of Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda. He was a part of a terrorist organization, quite literally. It's pretty fucking ridiculous to think about just like the sort of a turnaround, I guess, to like a statesman. Keep in mind, Al-Jilani is not beating the sort of like quote unquote, I guess, puppet of Israel sort of like allegations, because he's been currently doing attacks on the southern population, the southern Druze population, at the behest of the Israelis, because they say that they want like to make like the Israelis want to make like a buffer zone or some shit, and there's some like real fucking sussy shit that's going on in that respect, you know. So he's currently attacking the local Druze population of Syria in the southern parts of Syria. He is also doing a lot of fucking deals with like differing Western leaders. So it's yeah, he's pretty sus. And yeah, like you said, Boy Meets Mini, what HES feels like the PLO all over again. That's also the vibe that I'm kind of getting as well. Like we're getting like maybe not like Yasser Arafat. Yeah, maybe like yeah, it would probably be Yasser Arafat. Yeah, like what Yasser Arafat to like Electric Boogaloo. I don't know if it's like a complete selling out to Israel. We have to like fucking figure that out and see, right? Because like it's relatively simple to always like say shit like that because of, you know, given the sort of like polity and region that we're in. But it is kind of interesting just how quickly a lot of stuff has been going down in terms of like Syria. Now, the question is is HTS preferable to Bashar al-Assad? That's a completely other question, I'll be honest. Like, I have no idea of, like, who is necessarily preferable right in this moment. It's too early to tell, but, you know, he's attacking minority populations, al-Jilani, that is. So, it's not a good look, my dude. It's a bad look, actually. I think that's a kind of a bad thing. But, what? He hasn't been in power for that long. We still kind of just have to wait and see what happens. That's all we can really do at this moment.
Made the surprise announcement at the start of a tour of Gulf Arab states that began in Saudi Arabia. A sanctions reprieve would be a huge boost for Syria's Islamist president and former al-Qaeda commander Ahmed al-Sharaa, who was looking to stabilize a country shattered by more than a decade of civil war. The White House and 2 Syrian presidential sources said Trump is set to say hello to Sharaa on Wednesday in Saudi Arabia. Trump said he made the decision after discussions with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan, whose governments have both strongly urged the lifting of...
So yeah, keep in mind HTS was Turkey backed. It was backed by the Turks in particular. They were the ones who were hardcore, going for al-Sharaa, I believe is his name now. So that's kind of like the interests, I suppose, that are being served here. But I don't think like really Trump cares about that in particular. For him, it's all about, well, wheeling and dealing. We love to wheel. We love to deal. We love to talk with people. Very important. I want to make it look like I'm really important here, guys, because I am very important. We all know this, right, folks? We understand. We know.
Sanctions.
Now it's their time to shine. It's their time to shine. So I say good luck, Syria. Show us something very special.
The United Nations, which has been pushing countries to lift sanctions on Syria, welcomed the move.
It was important for us to see relief on sanctions on Syria.
The U.S. imposed sanctions during Bashar al-Assad's rule. The sanctions cut Syria off from the global financial system and deterred foreign investment and trade, hampering efforts to rebuild from the war. Damascus residents celebrated Trump's decision. It feels like a mountain has been lifted off our chest, said this local. Trump's announcement comes despite Israel's deep suspicion of Sharaa's administration. Israeli officials have continued to describe Sharaa as a jihadist.
Yeah, because here's the position with Israel. They are looking to build greater Israel, right, basically. They want territory in southern Israel, basically. So the reason why Israel is suspicious here in particular is because they're looking for territorial expansion. That is the goal of the Israelis, which is why they're trying to like come up with like basically any excuse to try to make the government of Syria, the sort of like current the current government of Syria look as bad as possible, because for them in particular, they have expansionist goals and projects. In particular, they want to take advantage of whatever perceived potential instabilities that Syria is still experiencing for the express purposes of, well, imperialism. That's the goal of the Israelis, right? So that's why they're like coming up with the excuse like, oh, well, you need to just like not attack like the Druze population, because like let's be honest here, Israel could give less of a shit about the Druze population. They don't give a fuck about that. And I'm suspecting because of like whatever like nationalistic predilections or tendencies, that's why al-Jilani is attacking them. Why is al-Jilani actually attacking the southern Druze? Do we know, Boy Meets Me? Why are the Druze in South Syria getting attacked? I'm curious. I am not sure. Well, Times of Israel. Well, let's see what we got here. What is behind the latest clashes in Syria between Druze and pro-government gunmen? Because the thing with the Syrian civil war, there was a lot of different fucking goddamn factions. So HTS is a Turkish-backed, nationalistic, like fundamentalist, nationalistic Syrian army. There was the Syrian Democratic Forces. There was the YPG. There were the Kurds. and they kind of had their own sort of like goals. What they wanted was a democratic Syria. If you were cheering for someone, quote unquote, it would have been those guys, I guess. I guess the Druze also had their own sort of like ambitions to make their own separate polity, similar to the Rojavans, similar to the Kurds. They wanted to make like a Druzistan, let's say that colloquially, and that's why they also probably fought with the Assad regime, because Assad was getting attacked from like basically everywhere. Right? It was the south, it was the east, it was the north, in particular. So the Druze are a religious sect. They're a minority group. The transitional government has promised to include the Druze, but has so far kept authority in the hands of the Islamist former insurgents who toppled Assad, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS. It's a Turkish-backed group. 23 new 23-member government in Syria announced in late March only has one Druze member. Oh, so they want more. Okay, they want more representation. Because I assume they're probably fearful that they're going to get like wiped out by the more Islamic fundamentalist elements of HDS. That's why. And so there's been tensions between the sides. Syria's religious and ethnic communities are worried about their place in Syria's new system that is mostly run by Islamists, including some who have links to extremist groups. The country's new president, Ahmed al-Shara, is himself a former militant, was once a member of Al-Qaeda. Yeah, he's a commander within Al-Qaeda, and was held for years in jails in neighboring Iraq for his role in the anti-American insurgency. Although al-Shara had said the rights of ethnic and religious minorities will be protected, there have been several rounds of sectarian killings since Assad's fall. The Assad family rule, which was dominated by members of the Alawiti sect, had oppressed much of the country's Sunni a majority, while giving minorities some powers. Being a member of the Muslim Brotherhood, the largest Islamic group in the country decades ago, was punishable by death as of the 1980s. The Druze have major concerns about Muslim groups since they came under attack by members of the Islamic State group. So that would have been ISIS, I believe, right? In 2018, in the South Sweda province, it left dozens killed or wounded, and more than 2,000 people were taken hostage for nearly 4 months. Muslim extremists consider the Druze heretics. During Syria's 14-year conflict, the Druze had their own militias, what triggered the clashes. Yeah, this is why. They're making militias to try to defend themselves. The extremists think that they're heretics. They make militias to defend themselves, and so they're fighting one another. That's pretty much what it is. Clashes broke out around Monday midnight in the southern Damascus suburb of Jaramana after an audio clip circulated on social media of a man criticizing Islam's prophet Muhammad. The audio was attributed to a Druze cleric, but cleric Marwan Kiwan said in a video posted on social media that he was not responsible for the audio, which angered many Sunni Muslims. Okay, the fighting later spread to the outskirts of the southern town of Sankanaya, triggering the first Israeli airstrike against pro-government gunmen. Well, thanks, Israel. Facing pressure from their own Druze community, Israeli officials... Wait, they have Druze in their own... Well, I guess by, like, the Golan Heights. That's why. The thing that they fucking annexed. There's probably a bunch of Druze there. Israeli officials have vowed to protect the Druze of Syria and warned Islamic groups from entering predominantly Druze areas. Yeah, sure. I definitely believe Israel when they say this. Like, manufacturing consent. The 101 right there. The clashes have pulled Israel further into conflict with the airstrike 2 days ago, and Friday marked a major increase in tensions with an attack close to the presidential palace in Damascus in what Syria's presidency called a major escalation. Israel says it does not want Islamic extremists near the country's northern border. Since Assad's fall, Israel has carved a buffer zone in southern Syria and has destroyed much of the Syrian army's assets so they didn't fall into the hands of groups that removed him from power. Yeah. So, like I was saying earlier, the point of why Israel is getting involved in this is because of, their own sort of ambitions to take advantage, and they're trying to use the Druze as a sort of, like, wedge in order to be able to say, well, hey, we care about the Jews population, guys. You know, we totally do. Yeah, we care about those guys. This like Christian minority denomination and sect. It's bullshit, obviously. Like it's pretty obvious. Israel's been warning for decades that Iran and its proxies pose a danger in the northern border. We're backed by Turkey. Other sporadic attacks in different areas, as well as an ambush on Damascus-Sweda highway, made the situation worse until a deal was reached. After the Interior Ministry forces and local Jews, a gunman deployed in different areas. The Britain-based war monitor, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, alleged 99 people were killed over the past few days, of which 51 were killed in Sakanaya and the Druze majority Damascus suburbs of Jarmana. There were local gunmen and security forces. Okay, so this is broadly speaking what's like going on. But Israel is trying to use this as like an excuse in order to have their own expansionist aims of a greater Israel kind of be recognized. That's why Israel is doing what it is definitely doing, in particular in Syria. So, cool. We now have an idea as to what is going on there.
Was for years the leader of Al-Qaeda's official wing in the Syrian conflict. He first joined Al-Qaeda in Iraq, where he spent 5 years in a U.S. prison.
Cool. Let's see. Now we are on to the actual deal itself. We're gonna make a deal, folks. We're making a deal. We're making deals. Very important that we're making lots of deals. Yeah, you know, it's a $600 billion. From what I understand, it's an arms deal with the Saudis, but you know, the Ukrainians say they don't think that shit. So whatever. Trump says so he secures $600 billion deal. Yep. He said that already. Riyadh. President Trump kicked off his trip to the Gulf on Tuesday with a surprise announcement that the United States will lift long-standing sanctions on Syria and a $600 billion commitment from Saudi Arabia to invest in the U.S. The U.S. agreed to sell Saudi Arabia an arms package worth nearly $142 billion. Great. Because we know that the Saudis have been clamoring for more arms from the U.S. We know that this is something that has been, broadly speaking, that's been happening. But, well, you know, gotta screw over the Ukrainians. Single tier for the Ukrainians. As always. Used to at this point. According to the White House, which is called its largest defense cooperation agreement Washington has ever done, the end of sanctions on Syria would be a huge boost for a country that has been shattered by more than a decade of civil war. Rebels, led by current President Ahmed al-Sharaa, toppled President Bashar al-Assad last December. Speaking at an investment forum in Riyadh at the start of a deals-focused trip that has brought a flurry of diplomacy, Trump said he was acting on a request to scrap sanctions by Saudi Arabia's de facto ruler, Prince Mohammed bin Salman. I know that also Mohammed bin Salman has been fucking pushing for recognition of a Palestinian state, but like I was saying earlier, the Saudi Arabians have been pushing for this arms deal for a while now. They really, really want to get new, a lot of new U.S. technology and equipment, which is what this $142 billion deal has been, proposed for. And we love the military-industrial complex, folks, don't we? I love those guys. Some of my favorite guys. What I do for the Crown Prince, Trump said, drawing laughs from the audience. He said the sanctions had served an important function, but that it was now time for the country to move forward. Yeah, definitely anti-war. Very true. The move represents a major U.S. policy shift. Yeah, he's able to lift sanctions whenever he wants, right? If I recall correctly, the president, I think he can do this, right? Shouldn't be a problem with this. The U.S. declared Syria a state sponsored of terrorism in 1979, added sanctions in 2004, and imposed further sanctions after the civil war broke out in 2011, which certainly exacerbated the issue. Syrian Foreign Minister Assad al-Shibani said on X that the planned move marked a new start in Syria's path to reconstruction. Trump has agreed briefly to greet Shura in Saudi Arabia on Wednesday, a White House official has said. Man, this guy has been fucking globetrotting, dude. He was in France not that long ago. He's going now to talk with the president and shit. He's been, bro, my guy has been making the rounds. He's wheeling and dealing, folks. What can I say? Very, very cool. Very good. Very cool. Very good. Trump and the Saudi crown prince signed an agreement covering energy, defense, mining, and other areas. Trump has sought to strengthen relations with the Saudis to improve regional ties with Israel and act as a bulwark against Iran. From what I understand, the Israelis have not been very happy with any of the dealings that have been going on. Because, again, one of the conditions the Saudis are looking to get is recognition of a Palestinian state, which obviously Israel does not want to happen. Because, with that, they can get a lot more help from the UN, and they can also have, other states can also provide, relief for the Palestinians. Yeah. The tensions that have been going on earlier and earlier, that, the Israelis have been getting snubbed quite often by Trump. Constantly. They've been getting snubbed very, very often, especially recently by Trump, has been quite interesting, to say the least. So it's not clear whether the deal included F-35 jets, which sources say have been discussed. The Saudi prince said the package could reach $1 trillion when further agreements are reached in the months ahead. That's fucking crazy. I didn't say this. The agreement covers deals with more than a dozen U.S. defense companies for areas including air and missile defense, air force and space, maritime security and communications, a White House fact sheet said. Saudi Arabia is one of the largest customers for U.S. arms, and the two countries have maintained strong ties for decades based on an agreement in which the kingdom delivers oil and the superpower provides security. But relations were strained after the 2018 murder of the U.S.-based Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Khashoggi? I'm going to say Khashoggi. That's not how you're supposed to properly say it, but whatever, I don't care. By Saudi agents in Istanbul caused a global uproar. U.S. intelligence concluded that bin Salman approved an operation to kill Khashoggi, a prominent critic, but the Saudi government has denied any involvement. Yeah, sure. I totally believe the Saudi government. Trump did not mention the incident during his visit and called bin Salman an incredible man. He's incredible. I love this man. I really believe we like each other a lot. What can I say, folks? I'm a big fan of Muhammad. Trump will go on from Riyadh to Qatar, where he's going to get his fucking $400 million bribe plane. Very funny. On Wednesday, and the UAE on Thursday in a trip that is focused on investment rather than security matters in the Middle East. Right? Because, the Saudi Arabians will help take care of the security. Shit like that. Several U.S. business leaders attended the event, including Elon Musk. Wasn't also fucking Mark Andreessen there? Now, whatever. I think I remember in some of the part, a clip in the fucking video where Trump was talking. I think Mark Andreessen, his egghead fucking appeared or some shit, The Tesla chief who has led a government downsizing effort for Trump in Washington. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, and Blackstone CEO Stephen Schwarzman. Because again, they just want to. It's all about the money, folks. It's all about the Benjamins. Trump was shown speaking with several Saudi officials, including Sovereign Wealth Fund Governor Yasser Al-Rumayyan, Armco CEO Amin Nasser, and Investment Minister Khalid Al-Falih? Whatever. As he viewed models for the kingdom's flashy multi-billion-dollar development projects. Dude, he probably soyed the fuck out over the line, right? And also, you want to fucking look at some crazy shit, some crazy history. Saudi Aramco, dude. You want to talk about justifications for regime change era efforts that happened in Iran with the Shah and shit. Saudi Aramco. Phoy. That shit is fucking crazy. Oh, hey, Neom, the stupid line city. Bin Salman has focused on diversifying the Saudi economy in a major reform project dubbed Vision 2030. That includes giga projects, a dictator's favorite thing to do, such as Neom, a futuristic city, the size of Belgium. Oil generated 62% of the Saudi government's revenue the last year. The kingdom has scaled back some of its ambition as rising costs and falling oil prices weigh. Also, golf and motorsports get tons of Saudi money now. Yeah, I've heard. Like, you've even said yourself, Boy Meets Many, just the amount of tours and like GPs and shit like that the Saudi Arabians have been like that one in Jeddah, right? There's that one in particular. Aramco is F1's title sponsor. Of course, they're racist. That's true. That's true. I wonder why Saudi Aramco is one of the title sponsors. Could be anything in particular. Well. What do we have here? No visit to Israel. Warning to Iran. Trump is not scheduled to stop in Israel. Those tensions. Trump does not like the fact that, Israel is just causing problems for his wheeling and dealing shenanigans, which is so fucking funny, dude. Raising questions about where the close ally stands in Washington's priorities as Trump praises Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to agree to a new ceasefire deal in the 19-month-old Gaza war. Oh yeah, war, dude. Sure. Israel's military objectives against Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon and its assassinations of the two Iranian allied groups' leaders have at the same time given Trump more leverage by weakening Tehran and its regional allies. Trump said it was his fervent hope that Saudi Arabia would normalize relations with Israel. Yeah. Well, I know they want a Palestinian state, but the Israelis are never gonna fucking agree to that shit, ever. Following the other Arab states that did so during his first 2017 to 2021 term. So, of course, that's the Abrahamic Accords, which he also mentions. But you'll do it on your own time, or do it in your own time, he said. Netanyahu's opposition to the creation of a Palestinian state makes progress with Saudis unlikely, sources tell Reuters. Whoa, who would have thought that it's an irreconcilable position that is causing this, that this is not going to basically work out. Crazy. Oh, 1000% Boy Meets Many. Yeah, Trump doesn't care about the Palestinians ultimately. This is all his personal gripes. Yeah, exactly. Like, Benjamin Netanyahu is making it such that it's really difficult for Trump to present himself as, I'm a wheeler and dealer, I make a lot of deals, I wheel, I deal, I steal, I feel. I'm doing a lot of stuff here, folks. Lots is getting accomplished here. I'm doing so much stuff, doing so many things. Obviously, the problem is a lot of that is constantly being jeopardized by Israeli fucking belligerents. So it's just like, well, Israel, you're making it quite difficult for me to make a lot of deals, and I just want to make some deals, Israel, I love you. You're like my best friend on the planet, but like, I'm trying to make some deals here. You're making it quite tough, Israel. You're making it real difficult for me. I don't like that. I don't like it. It would be the funniest thing to potentially happen from all of this is if, like, arms shipments get cut off to Israel as a result of, the bloodthirstiness and warmongering of the Benjamin Netanyahu sort of the government of Israel. That would be like the goofiest timeline, like the most silly thing that happens. But like you said, we all know with like the Trump Gaza stuff. Ultimately, Trump doesn't give a shit about the Palestinians. He could care less about them. For him, it's the problem is like he's trying to frame himself as like this huge like wheeler and dealer, this big deal maker. This guy who makes like a lot of different like proposals and stuff that are successful. And, well, Israel's making that harder with Benjamin Netanyahu in power. So, Do you also think this is Trump trying to shore up his popularity because he's got to know Americans are more critical of Israel than ever? I think it's a factor. I'd say that's a factor. I think that's a factor. I think that has some play. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. You know, I think that's totally reasonable to say that, like, Trump is not, because he doesn't do anything out of altruistic means whatsoever. He does everything like for his own like greedy purposes and means and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I don't think that's ridiculous to say, Boy Meets Minnie. I'll be honest. I think could be because of his flailing popularity. We all know how much he cares about like looking good in the polls, right? But yeah, I certainly think that's a factor. Yeah, I don't think that's ridiculous to say. I'll be honest. I like how I know Modi is attacking Pakistan to shore up his unpopularity. Well, I mean, we all know about like the standard sort of playbook of dictators all the time. Flailing popularity amongst the nationalistic base. Well, do an attack of like a well-known sort of like regional enemy for nationalistic purposes, and in order to help shore that shit up. You know, it's a tale as old as time itself, right? We've seen this before. We know. Trump on Tuesday called Iran the most destructive force in the Middle East and warned that the U.S. will never allow it to obtain a nuclear weapon. He said he was willing to strike a new deal with the Islamic Republic, but only if its leaders changed course. Okay, again, we've said this constantly before. The only reason why Iran is more likely to seek out wanting to get a nuclear weapon is because of the fact that you ripped up the JCPOA. You doing that caused, Tehran to quite literally be on the path of pursuing a nuclear weapon. That's why. But, whatever. I mean, Israel's mad about the fact that he wants to make a deal, but, it's just like, it's so goofy. It's so funny. I want to make a deal with Iran, he said. But if Iran's leadership rejects this olive branch, we will have no choice but to inflict massive maximum pressure. I wonder what that fucking means. So, yeah, like, I guess, like, the funniest part about all this stuff is, like, I guess, like, good, like, it's like Andy from Toy Story, like, picking up the Israel doll and like dropping it and now becoming that, now you're my new favorite, and it's like Saudi Arabia instead, which I find really, really funny, to be honest. Like, well, goodbye Israel, you're no longer my favorite. Saudi Arabia is now my favorite Middle Eastern polity. I love the Saudis. I love them so much because they give me so much money to my golf courses. I mean, just because they're great friends. I love them. And that's like, let's keep it $1.50. Let's be honest here. That's probably the biggest reason for us to, like, one of the biggest reasons as to why he's probably doing what he's doing right now in terms of the wheels and deals and feels and reels. It's because of that shit in particular. But, I mean, if it leads to sort of, like preferable outcomes for, like, the Palestinians kind of by accident, then I guess that's, like, not the end of the world, I suppose. I mean, either way, they're the ones who are getting, like, completely fucked over, whether we like it or not. Like, I mean, it's sad to say, but it's true, right? Like, I don't think that's, like, hyperbolic or anything. But it's interesting that this is sort of how this is all playing out. Honestly, we just kind of have to wait and see what happens. If Israel, because of their fucking complete utter belligerence, has made it such that it's like that Trump will probably never want to try to deal with them ever again as a result of them being so utterly belligerent in terms of what Trump wants to accomplish in the fucking Middle East. Because we know, like, I'm trying to get a deal here with the Israelis, but the Israelis just keep attacking those Palestinians. And just killing a lot of people. We don't like the fact that they're killing a lot of people. Israel, you need to stop. Israel, like, we're bros, but, like, if you just, like, stopped, that'd be pretty cool, Israel. I think that's, like, honestly, like, the sort of, like, the most interesting sort of byproduct for us to, like, what's going on here. The fact that there is a potential for, not, like, Middle Eastern peace as a result of, like, what's going on, but, like, an improvement of relations, perhaps. I'm not sure exactly. That could happen at the sort of like behest of Israel. Because Israel's they're the ones that are losing out here, and they're pissed about the fact that they're losing out here, right? So pretty much at this point, all we can really do is sort of just wait and see how the rest of this trip plays out. The fact that Trump is not visiting Israel is obviously a very, very big tell that Trump in particular is probably not very happy about the fact that the Israelis keep constantly screwing with his plans. Let's be honest here. Because they're definitely, like, messing with, like, whatever wheeling. Because, like I said before, Trump wants to make it seem like he's, like, a wheeler and dealer. That he's, like, a very, very good, like, negotiator. Even though, like, for the most part, he's being... Let's be honest here. He's mostly just being coddled to. For the most part, he's being coddled to. Which is why, like, it's been sort of, like, easy for a lot of these different... like dictatorships within the Gulf states to be able to easily manipulate them with like a fucking $400 million jet. But you know, it's kind of funny to see this byproduct of like, it's time for Israel to move over. Now my new best friend is now Saudi Arabia. I guess that's like sort of just the funniest outcome out of all of this is the fact that the Israelis are just getting completely stubbed. It's mean girl shit. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate to say. Like, we all know about like Trump's fucking pettiness, right? He's very petty. He's such a drama queen. He's a little fucking bitch. He's super fucking catty. And he probably perceives as to like the actions of the Israeli state to be like, well, they're interrupting the stuff that I want to do and I don't like that. I'm very upset about the fact that they keep fucking with all this I'm trying to make deals here, Netanyahu. Netanyahu. Why are you making it more difficult for me? Netanyahu. I don't like the fact that you're making stuff difficult for me. I'm trying to make deals. I'm trying to wheel. I'm trying to deal. I'm trying to make it better for you, Benjamin. Like, I also want the real estate because we all know how fucking excited that fucking, like, complete freak Benjamin Netanyahu was when, like, Trump Gaza was announced. When he was just like, we're going to have a wonderful, fantastic real estate project done in Gaza. It's going to be done in Gaza, folk. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be great, folks. We all know how much he was looking forward to that shit, right? Because it was like an opportunity for him to make money off that shit. But, you know, now, like, as a result of the bombing still continuing and the situation seemingly not improving whatsoever in any sense, Trump might snub Israel as a result, saying like, well, Israel, you're kind of making it tough for me to advocate for you because you just keep messing with all of my plans. I'm trying to make some deals here, Israel, and like you're just making it really hard for me. I don't really appreciate the fact that you're doing this, Israel. Why are you doing this? It's total like petty mean girl shit, but I don't know if the byproduct of it sort of like leads to like a Palestinian state and the genocide stopping. I guess it's good in that respect. Because I mean, is Trump doing this because he cares about the Palestinians? No, of course not. Like, I'm not delusional, right? I'm not stupid. Obviously, he's not doing it for altruistic reasonings. But again, this is foreign policy we're talking about. No one does anything for altruistic reasonings, right? Like, that's just a fact. No one does anything because they're nice about it on, like, social media or some shit. No. That's not how any of this stuff works. But if, like, as a result, like, a good outcome happens for the Palestinians kind of by accident, then I guess that's, like preferable in comparison to anything else. Like, honestly, all we can really do is just, like, sort of wait and see, like, what, because, like, I feel like maybe a byproduct of this is the Israelis might get more aggressive in Gaza and do a lot more bombings. We'll see how Trump reacts to that, right? Like, currently, like, Gaza has been under siege for several months, and they're running out of, like, food, well, in the city, right? I mean, if Trump wants to do, like, a real good good show of will, what he could do is he could, and this would be one of the fucking funniest things to happen on the planet. He could basically try to not force the Israelis, but like see if he can like get in aid shipments through the Israelis to the Palestinians, right? As like a sort of like show of good faith to the Saudi Arabians because of, I don't know, like like a show of like good faith to be like, oh, we're gonna listen. I'm very committed to what the Saudi Arabians want us to do. We want to invest. We want to get these investments because like Israel, like let's be honest here, most U.S. leaders do not like Benjamin Netanyahu. They fucking hate him because he just gets in the way and he's just a fucking complete belligerent. There's been constant leaked audios all the time about how much like U.S. presidents do not like the actions of Israel. They have big problems with a lot of the shit that Israel does and the instabilities that they do. But, you know, they keep them around because it's like, well, it's more beneficial to us to have them around. But, you know, that's cool. Yeah, really. Yeah, like you said, Boy Meets Minnie, the only people who fucking like Benjamin Netanyahu are evangelicals. That's it. Because of their, like, stupid doomsday cult. Those are the only motherfuckers that have any affinity towards Israel. And, I mean, those are in... But Trump is currently in power. He doesn't have to really give a shit about what they say, right? Not at all. Because he can also come up with the excuse to them. It's like, well, you know, like, listen, folks. This is just in line with the Abrahamic Accords. Evangelicals, if, you know, ever the fucking support decides to, like, randomly slip for whatever reason, right? He can use that as like a justification, saying like, well, think of all the stuff that I did for you guys that I brought, you know. Peace in the Middle East. Israel benefits from that. Remember, folks, remember evangelicals, you know. And also like a current far-right evangelical, like what Mike Huckabee is currently the main ambassador for Israel. So, yeah, we just have to kind of like wait and see how a lot more of these, like, we're probably going to get like a better idea as to what the hell is going on. For example, when more of the deals come out and more stuff sort of plays out for what not Israel, for I mean, I guess also Israel, for these deals, like if like anything else sort of changes as a result, all we can really do at this point is just kind of like wait and see. I guess we can sort of say that these have been like, I don't know, welcome developments. I don't know if that's like really correct to say. I mean, it's better than, I guess, like Palestine. Like I said before, if like for whatever reason the Palestinians end up like not getting like their shit completely like bent and pushed in because of all of like Trump potentially snubbing the Israelis, that would be probably the funniest outcome of all of this. But all we can really do at this point is just sort of like wait and see what happens. If I don't know, because like we're talking about Trump here, anything can just kind of change on a dime with him, right? Like if he just gets like mad with like someone in particular all of a sudden, like then as a byproduct, like maybe he'll be back in the good graces of Israel. Like, I don't know. It's really tough to say for certain what exactly could potentially happen because it's too early at the moment to sort of like make a lot of calls, right? Yeah, pretty much. Boy Meets Minnie. A lot the fascists are fucking infighting currently, right? So I suppose in that respect it's okay because a lot of fascists are just going to be constantly infighting. So I guess that outcome is acceptable, I suppose, as a result. All we can really do at this point then is just kind of like wait and see what happens. See if anything changes in particular, and you know, maybe just maybe, like as a result, there may be peace in Gaza because of all of this. I mean, that would be a pretty good outcome, but don't get it like fucking twisted. Trump's not doing this for like fucking altruistic reasonings, you know, like he's doing this because he perceives it to be like a political sort of a benefit to him. But you know, if like Middle East peace sort of like occurs because of like shit like this, then you know I'm not really gonna complain about it. But yeah, all we can really do is just kind of like wait and see what happens. If there's any like changes or anything, if something like goofy happens all of a sudden, is that's really all I can say about this. You know, just gotta wait and see what happens.